Alright, hey everybody. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I just definitely did. Nice and relaxing, didn't really do anything special. Although, my goal right now is to try to maybe get through a bunch of my Steam backlog, so I've been playing a bunch of those. Got way too many from Humble Bundles and stuff, so I finally wanted to catch up. But enough about that. Let's get to programming. Music's a bit loud. Alright. So, Friday, we were working on finishing up the Lua scripts for the ability action tree generation. And we hooked this up to the game, but there was one other part we needed to work on. Let's pull it up. Basically right here where we try and translate from the Lua objects to the game objects. We don't know how to deal with a condition node yet. And that's mostly because we need to go ahead and get the conditions into the database so we can assign every name here into an index. Just like we do with other similar things in mods like the monster prototypes. So I think I'll go ahead and just play through the game and see how far I got. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so the game actually loads all the way. It actually finishes that. Okay, but the problem here is that since the root node is actually a condition, the game doesn't handle it, and so it doesn't go any farther than the root. So obviously these two children aren't included in the debug tree right here. But I guess, does that mean that the conditions were loaded? Oh, I don't see anything in the game data yet. So it seems like... Okay, load condition file. Okay, yeah, we just load the function. But I guess I didn't do the part in the asset organizer yet. So let's pull that up. Ability, blocks. Okay. So I just need an ability condition. So let's go ahead and... So I don't have a corresponding game data class for the ability condition, so I'm going to need to add that. I think here I'll actually call it an action tree condition instead of ability. Make it public and serializable so it will show up in Unity. So the main thing we need is the name. Oops. And then we need the closure, which again, for those who haven't seen Moonsharp, is just what our Lua interpreter calls a function object. I'll just call this a handler. So anything else? This is our Tamer class. I think, yeah, I'll rename all this stuff before we get too far. Let's rename them to action tree condition. So I gotta rename the file now. Ability class. Oh no, that's all. Nothing else actually hooks up with these. But, oh, but I guess the table of contents would have it. conditions. Okay. And I know these are a lot more abstract than most of the other scripts we've used so far, but I hope soon when we implement them it'll make sense about what they'll actually do in the game. Okay, so I guess I'll just rename it here, although the user will never see that. And action tree condition. Oh yeah, and I need to change this type. That would have thrown an error probably. Or would have just given us back null all the time. And then probably here. Try to use the same name to keep things consistent. Alright, and type's correct here. Alright, so in the asset organizer, let's go ahead and add another function down here at the bottom. I think I'll go ahead and copy these, because we can use that as a base. So add action tree conditions. Don't think we'll need them name the ability name map, but we will need a condition name map. And this is add action tree condition. Oops, I have add in there twice, don't I? Okay. Oh, that's funny. Why did it rename the variables up here? I guess because the functions had the same name. Oh, no big deal. Everything looks okay here. Okay, so this will work the same, XML key, and then next to this will be action tree condition. I've got to just change some of these. And then we want the game data version here. Okay, so here it's saying if it has an invalid name or an empty name. It's a duplicate name. Okay, here it's setting it, and then I want to add this to the data. Or do I not? I guess I didn't create the list in the game data class yet. Public list action tree condition. I'll shorten the name a little bit. There's no model for this, obviously. So yeah, we can get rid of all this part because that's monster specific. The only thing we need is the function, which is handler. So metric data. Okay, so now this L is confusing me because we used L for the Lua prefix before. But I think yeah, it's meant to be game logic, which is why I chose L this time. So mod that's not it. How do I forgot how I access the Lua functions right here. So the LData handler is the handler function. Okay, so we looking fine here. So let's call the function back in this doOrganize class. Basically, okay, let's put it after that. So this is the condition name map. And then we want to clear this list. And we don't need to pass the ability map. So add action tree conditions. Alright, so that's looking good. Okay, and this is saying that there has to be at least one block prototype and one monster, but we don't really... It's okay if there's no conditions. Okay, so now I think everything will load. I'm pretty sure that we'll get an error, but I guess that's one way to find out. Okay, yeah, I got a loading error. Action tree condition and monster proto gold found. Okay, so I found a monster prototype. Okay, I see. I wonder what... I probably messed up something. So I bet it's right here in the add action tree prototypes. Yeah, so using this is a mismatch. Action tree conditions. I should make sure that that's correct. Yeah, see here we even use block when it should be monster right there. Okay, the other two don't have a function structured like that. So let's try again and see how far it gets. So load it all the way through. Okay, we can see there's no action tree conditions because I think we didn't add any to our table of contents, which we can look at here and here. Yeah, neither of them have a condition, so that's fine. Alright, so let's add a couple conditions to... Yeah, I think that the framework mod, it makes sense for it to have some, especially like the can move, that's pretty useful for lots of different mods. Pretty my thumb blank. I think I got my point across. Let's see, action tree conditions. And then we'll have the, what do I want to name it? XML file. I guess we can just call it can move condition. Or how about to keep things organized? Let's have another folder. I forget. I don't think I have to put the XML in it. No, I don't here, so. Right, so our mod folder is right here in the Unity streaming assets. So if I create the new folder, and then start with a text file. Okay, so can move.xml. We'll open it with Lua or Notepad++. I'll go ahead and copy this just to get started. We need to change it to action tree condition. Alright, so can move. So here we need to insert the function. What should we call it? Handler. I think its handler function is the tag. Alright. So testing is the mod name. It's always good to add this to the beginning of your function name so that you won't have naming collisions. So testing condition can move. I'll name it like that. And then here we should probably include a script file. Let's just put it in conditions. I'll just call it Lua. Lowercase. And for now I'll just put it all in one file. I know this is going to get a little confusing. I mean, it makes sense because it's condition / Lua, but then in this editor it just shows up as Lua right there. So I'll change it to conditions. And then I need to change it here as well. That's a bit too much for me. For programming anyway. So let's go ahead and create the function testing condition move equals function. And I'm not sure how this will work yet. I just wanted to basically get everything set up. We won't actually call that script right now. Okay, so let's see, did it show up here? Okay, yeah, can move right there. Of course we can only see the name because closure is not serializable, which is fine. So let's see what happens when okay, well still nothing happens because I haven't hooked up the conditions yet. Or not hooked up, I haven't handled the condition nodes. So translate condition, gosh. I guess I'll use the same note naming. Translate node as condition. So Lua parent, game parent, and parameters. I guess this actually, in this code it's above, so I'll leave in this order. Okay, so we can look here. The first thing it did was translate the action type string into type enumeration. I guess we should first look and see what actually the action tree needs. So it needs a condition index. You know what, we should probably have an enumeration that says if it's an action or a condition node. I mean, it'd be kind of obvious if the condition is negative, then it's action. Is that, maybe that's fine. If that's the case, then I need to set parent condition to -1 right here. And here we'll set the action to null, even though that's default, just to make things very explicit what's going on. Okay, so now we need to find the condition index. So for index -0, index less than database, action conditions count, x++. If oh right, I guess so we won't have to call 2 upper invariant every time. Let's just save it right here. So condition name equals Lua parent condition type 2 or yeah, it's 2 upper invariant. Why didn't it show up? But before we do that, we actually need to make sure it's not null. Or do I? Oh yeah, here I make sure it's not null. Okay, so I don't need to do that actually. So if database action tree conditions index.name equals condition name. And we always store these as 2 upper invariant, so we don't have to use this function for that. Then the game parent condition index is index. And I actually will set it to -1 here, so that we'll know if one's not found, and then we can throw an error. So if the parent condition index is less than 0, throw new play exception. I guess I can copy this. Action tree node has invalid condition. Oh, I guess I'll just say unregistered, because the scripts or the mods are what supply these conditions. So condition index name action. So Lua memory I think is handled in the common area. Yeah, right here. So is the name. So I just need to do the children. And right, the children are a little different because an action node just has a next child, whereas a condition node has several named children. So. If Lua parent, what do I call him? I just need to get the list, I think. access this. I want to be able to get this, but just make it move sharp hidden. Put it right here. And I don't need to be able to set it, so that's fine. And by putting this attribute in front, Lua will not be able to access this variable, because I want Lua to only get it through add and get branch. So if branches.count is 0, then there's some problem, because a condition does not make any sense if it doesn't have at least one child. Should I even count? I mean, a condition should really have to have 2 children. But I guess it's conceivable that we could just say that it would just stop there. Because like right now we have an empty node where yeah, we just have this fail branch, but I guess I need to decide if I want to like throw an error if a condition tries to access a child that doesn't exist, or if it maybe just have like a default fail or branch or something like that, so you don't always have to create this. That'd probably be nice. If I do that, then I should make certain names off limits as well. What am I gonna do? Okay, section, but yeah, it definitely needs to have at least one. Otherwise, that doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Must have at least one child. Okay, so I guess we can validate the names here. So for each variable pair and parent branches, stream name equals pair key. Oh, I don't have to access it like that, do I? Because this, yeah, his node has the name in it. So I can just do branches.values. Okay, so let's see. Stream. Okay, so we actually deal with the names here. I guess I can add that. So if, what do I need to do here? So I don't actually, I just create the child and add it to the list and then enqueue it. So let's rename this to the Lua child. Okay, and yeah, so all the data will be copied from the Lua child to the game child when it's handled in this queue. So I don't think I need to do anything else right here. Right, So let's see, if I want to make certain names illegal, I should do it right here. Switch parent name. So let's just, they sound good. Say these nodes are unreachable because they will be handled as an automatic do nothing. If I'm going to do that, I should probably put these strings somewhere accessible to a bunch of classes. Because whatever class handles the execution of the condition script will also need to know this list. Let's see. I've been needing to add like a constants file for a while now. I guess I could just go in the action tree. Public, static. This should be fine. String. Let's make it a list so we can use contains. Exit nodes. I don't know if that's the right name for it. I guess implied is correct because the game doesn't actually create these, but they're just like nodes that don't do anything. Okay, and I can go like that, I think, to just add some. So we'd have dummy, none, fail, exit. I don't know, maybe I should just keep it to 1. So let's see here. What am I trying to pull up? Yeah, this should actually be can move to instead of just can move. Maybe I'll change that right away. Alright, so this condition, basically if it can't move, then it would need to return some node that it would move. Okay, well, yeah, I think what I'm actually doing here is not a good idea, because what if I guess it might be nice to have like just a nothing branch. Except that lets the condition type kind of like control the structure of the tree, and I don't know if I want that to happen. Like, because I kind of want this script to build the tree, and then the condition just later decides which branch to move down, but it doesn't actually have any knowledge of what the branches contain. Okay, so yeah, I think yeah, all this stuff I've been doing probably is not a good design decision. But luckily I didn't spend too much time on it. Okay, So anyway, because like what if you wanted this fail branch to actually have some action associated with it, then the game would not let you overwrite this fail keyword if it was a reserved node. So yeah, I think even though we might have to be a little bit like add in some of this like redundant code right here, it just lets the script have more control, so I think it's probably the better design decision. Okay, so is that all I have to do for the condition? It seems like I'm forgetting something. Okay, yeah, just the index and the children. Okay, I think that is all. So let's go ahead and play the game and see if we get any errors. Okay, so it loaded okay. Oop, something. Fail must have a condition or action type. Okay. But why did it keep throwing an error every frame? Oh, probably nothing catches this yet. Yeah, I need to do a try catch here. So catch, play, exception, and then I forget, do I actually handle these yet? I'm creating a bunch of new ones. Okay, yeah, I do have a message for it, so I guess I'll private message, play exception. It should be a claim. Error equals controller, claim message. Okay, so then error send. And yeah, that should kick us out of this. I wonder, did I do that for the other Lua scripts? I'm curious. So get action, get targets. No, I didn't. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Okay, so where is this called? Yeah, I need to do another try catch. Although if there's an error here, I think the game will still crash because it's going to try to change the select face right away. Alright, well, whenever that happens, I'll deal with it. Exception. And this is just, of course, to send the error. To the rest of the game. Okay, message. Now the other one just gets if an ability is usable or not. So I don't know if I have to freeze the whole game if there's some problem there. So it's the select window, isn't it? But I still do need a try catch around it. And I do have a try catch. So yeah, this time if there's an exception, it just sets it usable false. But doesn't freeze the whole game because it doesn't actually affect gameplay. So that's okay for now. I'm gonna need to come back to that at some point, but oops. Oh. I guess I can still put this outside. Oh no, that's not even needed. So let's say select target manager. I'm gonna write a note for myself. Select target manager on phase change. Play exception. Oops. Will crash game due to phase change. So all I need to do to fix that is just have it actually wait one frame to call that function. But I don't really want to mess with it right now. Okay, everything's, I guess it was just still doing work, but everything is fine now. So there was an error, we can see, but it didn't actually print it. Set error state. Okay, so references. Maybe I didn't print the exception. I get the exception here, but I don't actually print it to the log, which is kind of weird. So log exception. Alright, so let's close that. It's starting to get a bit too many objects up there. Now, let's see. Oops. Okay, still an error. Okay, here it shows. Action tree node fail must have a condition or action type. So yeah, we knew about that. So how do I want to handle that? Because I actually kind of like how it is here. It's just a null node. It doesn't do anything. So I guess it's okay if a node doesn't have a action or condition. Okay, so I can take that away. They just can't be both, I think is the main thing. So let's see, if it doesn't have anything, then I guess there's nothing else for me to translate because we don't care about any of the children. Okay, so maybe we should throw an error if this node has children, because then something's gone wrong. It's greater 0 or game parent. Oh, I don't want the game parent, I want the Lua parent. Branches count or Lua parent next does not equal null. So how would I say this? Action tree node has children, but no condition or action type. Yeah, because if something like this happened, then it wouldn't make any sense. So let's try it one more time. now everything went through. Let's look at the tree in the inspector here. Right, so this root is unnamed. It has 2 children. One is called can move. Okay, yeah, that's right. So the root has index or condition 0. And then can move has action type 1, source player 0, monster 0, and then we move to space 16, and then fail. Okay, so I should actually change this condition index to -1. And so type 0 is nothing. Okay, so up here I should just change the parent condition index to -1. Or maybe I should do that in the constructor. Yeah, I think that's better. So I can take that out. I guess I'll just leave this to make it explicit, but it's redundant, obviously. So yeah, everything's still good, but I want to make sure the fail has a negative condition index, and it does. I think I should move the action above the children, just so it's a little easier to read. Go ahead and do that. Where is it? I think I just closed that file, didn't I? Okay, so let's just put, well, the Lua memory won't show up regardless. But I'll put action right there. And probably name should go above the condition, just to make it easier to read. So now these things will be shuffled around in the editor. Obviously changing the order of variables doesn't affect anything in the actual C# code. So name, condition, action, and children. Yeah, that's definitely better. Okay, so now we have serialized, or not serialized, translated all the data from the Lua script. So what I need to do now is that when this getActions is complete, I need to move back. Actually, I already did that, didn't I? Oh, I know the problem is, it's waiting for the AI monster to complete selection, I think. I guess I can look here. Selection, flow manager. Did I call this? Yeah, right here, there's no error. And then the selection flow manager. Oh yeah, we know this works because that's how it shows up here. Okay, so what we need to do now is, I guess, because used to it let me select moves for the second player now. Let's see if that's still working. Because it's still in the getActions phase. Alright, so how did I take care of this? I guess the selection flow manager should change its phase right here, because after it sends its action chosen, then we don't have to do anything else. So now it's done. Maybe that will trigger it to happen again. I forget how I programmed this part where I get to select the actions for AI players just in testing. Okay, so it says inactive. But yeah, it's still not letting me pick anything. Okay, so let's look. I thought I figured this out already. So selection flow manager. Yeah, we already have this waiting players. Maybe I did this wrong. Find all references. Okay, so we don't actually deal with this now. I need to make another script that's like, instead of setting the phase to 0 here, let's do this. Private void complete selection, or complete selection for current player. So the first thing we do is clear the scope. And then if waiting players count is greater than 0, then we'd want to move to the next player in the list. It doesn't really need to be a list. It could be a queue. That might be easier, because it doesn't really make much difference, but okay, so start selecting from player. How does this work? Okay, so I don't have to check anything else. So waiting players, DQ, and that's it. I think take care of the rest. So I selected for this player, and yeah, now it changes to choose monster, except the scope is now player 1, which, remember, this is player 0, this is player 1. So when I click here, I can go to move. Oh, that's strange. Why does it let me move him there? Okay, so now it let me choose everything. Okay, well that's strange. There's still only one action tree, so obviously something is still messed up, but I can look. Oh, hey Alpha Gamer, good to see you again. How are you doing? I'm expecting another element here in the action tree list. This is for player index 0, so I didn't even add the other player. Okay, that's interesting. Where are we at with the game now? Well, I finished selecting a move for one player, and right now I'm trying to get the move for the second player, which for right now is just I'm gonna choose, but obviously in the future it will be an AI or even another player. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. working completely yet, so I'm trying to see what the problem might be. I think I'm gonna have to go in and do some debug logs. Maybe if I watch the scope I can see what's happening. So that part works fine. And it switches to selecting for player 1, so monster 1 will be 0. Give me a bunch of targets. And I need to figure out why it's letting me move over here, but... Oh, I know why. It's because the ability thinks I can move right here, but it's like wrapped around. That's actually... Yeah, that's one annoying thing I have to deal with. Maybe I'm too fine. It's gonna be... Imagine like the mind games of a competitive Pokemon battle on like a Fire Emblem type tactical chessboard. That's kind of what I have in my head. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna need to do some debug logging, I think. I'm not sure why that other action is not getting logged in here. Okay, so let's first go to Target Manager and I'll print out... We can't see this option index anymore because the scope is cleared immediately, so I'll go ahead and print the index out here. Debug, log. Option, index, chosen. Oh, I need to put string format at the beginning. So, option, index. So where is this even used? Okay, we do use it to get the actual thing in the finalizer. Okay, because this is what calls the tree Lua script. Okay, so in this... Okay, well I'll just test this and see what it prints out. So we know this is all working fine. Yeah, option index 3 chosen, but then when I go here, okay, let's figure out what index that is. So 7, okay, so it must be index 0. Oh yeah, no, it's option index 0 chosen, but for some reason the action tree is not added to the list, so now I need to figure out why that is. We still send this function. Which choice actions collector? This is the class that should add it to the list. See why it might not. The waiting player is not contained. Okay, let's do this. Let's actually set this to -1 at the beginning. And maybe I just forgot to set this somewhere. Oh no, I do set it right here. I guess I'll print this out. And let's turn back on some of these logs. Actions received for player. Let's change this to action tree. the future there will be an action list, but okay, action tree received for player 0. No, that's not correct. Oh, alright, Offie Gamer, thanks for coming by for a bit. I do appreciate it. Have a good day or night. So, well, I guess the problem is, this says player index 0. Oh, I can look at the, oh yeah, so this 16 is definitely the gold. So, it's not like it overwrote it or anything. But thanks, Offie Gamer, I'll see you later. And thanks for the luck. Okay, so I know that waiting players needs at least one more player. Should need player 1 because this code did not execute. So I guess the question is, why is the action tree player index set to 0? Well, maybe here I should test what player ID I'm sending into the system. Debug log request action tree for player. Okay, so if this says 0, then we know something upstream is causing the problem. So let's see what happened here. Oh, I haven't clicked target yet. So action tree registered for player 0. That's what we expect. And then when I click here, received. So requested for player 0. Okay, so something is going wrong somewhere else. Let's resolve this. Must be the finalizer. Oh, I don't even set the player ID. Okay, I should have known it was something silly. But sometimes the only way that you can find a bug like that is just to try to walk through your code. And pretty sure now everything should be working how I expect. Okay. Yeah, so now we have 2 action trees, one for player 0, which we move to tile 16, and one for player 1, which we move to tile 20. So yeah, that's good. Okay, and I know this error is because I haven't implemented sending the message to the server yet. So that will be what we'll do next. But actually the first thing I want to do is fix the wonky target selections, which just has to do with the map tiles rolling over. So everything is fine here, but because this monster is at the edge of the map, when it's testing adjacent tiles, it's expecting one right here, but we know it's out of bounds. But since I actually store these tiles in a list, it kind of wraps around like this to the layer below. So we need to try and convert these to hex positions first, and then see if it's out of bounds before we actually give it to the Lua script. So where do I do that? I think it's the board position class. Yeah, get horizontal neighbors. Yeah, so right now I don't even do any validity checking, which is kind of an oversight. Okay, so let's do it this way. X position as, it just transforms this position into a hex position object. So now neighbor equals plus axis. I think this works. Did I implement that? Looks like I did. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we have the plus operator. Okay. And let's rename this to center. Okay, so if neighbor is valid on board, we just need to pass the board object. Then we will yield return. Yeah, I can just use this constructor. And it will automatically convert the hex position to a board position. And the only difference is that we just add 1 to every value to account for our Lua's indexes being offset like that. I'm gonna change this. So as hex position is valid on board. That way we just use the same function. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this will work. So here. Alright, and now these two positions don't show up. Alright, so now we need to take a slight detour into netcode. Luckily it's not a huge problem. Basically we need to change this action tree into a form that's transferable over the network. So I don't know if there's any rules about like depth of a tree on the network. So I'm basically just going to copy this, except one thing is you can't send a list over the network, it has to be an array. So we basically are going to need to make exact copies of each of these objects, but with, well, obviously you won't send a Lua memory. Oh, that is a... I wonder if that will need to be sent over the network. I guess yes, because that's needed to see if all the actions are equal. Okay, so let me think about how to do that real quick, and I'll get a drink. Okay, so there's a couple options. One is you could try and do like, well, let's actually just make the class and I can show you a couple ways I'm thinking. So, this will be action tree message. this will need to be public, and it needs to be a child of message base to be able to be sent. So we don't really need this class because it's basically just the message class. We'll need both of these. So action tree. Message. And then this will be action tree message node. So the action tree, maybe just to make this a little simpler, I'll just have actually I don't know if that would really make it any simpler. I was gonna say I'll just have an array of player indexes and then an array of roots, but that doesn't actually make it simpler. Don't know if you can send that over a network. Probably not, but we'll get to that. So one way that I could, like, I know for sure this table won't be able to be sent. So one way we could do it is have string keys and public string values, and this works except what if Unity, or what if the mod author put a table as the key to, or the key or value to this Lua memory? That makes things a lot more complicated. One thing we can, I think also, Moonsharp has a serializer. Let's see, Moonsharp. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has a way, it has like onboard JSON, which is a way to serialize objects as a string. JSON module. Yeah, so we can serialize a table. I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure there must be, like, this is for you to be able to call in Lua itself, but there must be some way that you can actually call the serializer in C# as well. So I think I'll research some of that for next time. So right now let's just build the structure of this message. So I'll have int, and then I'll have the root. Alright, so maybe I'll just pull these values out and put them in line here. How did I do it? Could I have this action list message? Okay, so I don't actually use an action type, it's just an item. Maybe I should. It's not serializable either. This is a pretty big oversight. Okay, so let's just say network game action. And this can just, we can use it for both the action list and the action tree. But I want to copy this. And for now, I'll just go ahead and keep these functions. I don't know if we'll end up leaving okay, so where's this action type? Okay, so it is actually the action type used for the rest of the game. That's fine. I know there's something weird, like you can't send an array of enumeration types over the network. I had trouble with that before. So let's get rid of this. I know there's going to be problems in the code, but it won't be difficult to fix. Okay, so now we have the action. Okay, and we can't have a list, so we gotta change this to an array. And then I'm gonna just assume that we can store this as a string, so JSON Lua memory. Or maybe I guess it doesn't really matter that much, but I'll put JSON at the end. We won't do anything like that. Okay, and the action tree message is just simply going to have an array of these trees. Okay, so again, I have a feeling that Unity won't want to send a tree that has like a whole lot of depth, so that when we get to trees that maybe have like 10 actions chained together, I have a feeling that the message might reject it. Also, if the string gets really large, there's like a limit on the size of the messages you can send. There's ways you can get around it, but I guess I'll wait until that maybe becomes an issue. Probably we'll just need to limit the amount of stuff you can store in this Lua memory. Let me write a note about that. Let's see. I want to put something right before this. Limit amount of data in action Lua memory for network traffic. Okay, we did finish this though. So what we're working on now is action tree sending to and from the server. But if it doesn't like the depth, we can kind of flatten these trees into a list, and then instead of storing the node in an array here, we'd store an index where that node is in the list, and that will work just as well. There'll be a little more work on our part, which is why I'm not doing that straight away, but it's not a huge problem. And then if this JSON is a problem, then we'll just have to send a separate message to send a string to the server, which makes things a little more complex, but again isn't too big of a problem. So let's, before I end, I'll just fix any errors that come up here. So, network. I don't know if I really like this being in the game action class, but it's okay for now. Some more translation things. Fix that. Right, read function children. Okay, so already something is going wrong. Cannot have generic parameters. generating. Okay, sometimes the Unity code goes a little weird. Is it gonna let me play? No, I think I'm gonna need to restart it. Well, I guess we'll just do that tomorrow because I'm already over time. But thanks everybody for coming out and watching and chatting. I really appreciate it. I feel like, again, we made some pretty good progress today. Hopefully this small detour into some netcode won't last too long, because I know I'm kind of tired of fiddling with it. So I plan soon, well, after we finish this, we'll move on to the next phase of the game, which is where we flatten the action trees into a list of actions. And to do that, we'll need to ask the server for any data that we don't know about. For instance, like any specific stats for the monsters that have been hidden from us. A big one in Pokemon is the speed of the Pokemon you have to obviously look up to sort the actions. And then after that, I guess we'll maybe program some actual actions for the monsters to take besides moving around. Maybe actually do some damage. But anyway, thanks again for watching. If you want to catch up on this stream or any previous ones, I have uploaded them to my YouTube, which you can find below on my Twitch channel. And of course, feel free to follow me to be notified when I go live tomorrow. It should be around 7:30 or 8:30 Eastern. And I hope to see you there. Alright, have a good night. Bye-bye.